When does an insurance carrier owe for bad faith penalties in an insurance dispute? And he's asking if you can please act, or any one of you, please list 3 acts of brief scenarios that would qualify as a bad faith in Texas.
Yeah, well, there's different types of bad faith, as I talked about. Statutory bad faith, if we don't pay a claim timely, that is automatic. That is a sanction type penalty that begins to run from the date that we had sufficient information to pay the claim. So if we made a mistake and didn't pay it, even if it was a reasonable dispute, we still owe that statutory interest and attorney's fees. And that's a very broad category. Anything that we get wrong, if someone tells us we owed it, if a jury tells us we owe it, or we end up in appraisal, as Chad said, and a appraisal panel tells us we owe it, we look back to the date that we had the information to pay the claim, and we owe it. That's simple. The other type of bad faith, common law bad faith, only exists when we did not have a reasonable basis to deny the claim. That's the standard there. So those are the 2 types of bad faith. Those are the situations when we would owe those types of penalties in Texas.
How much time is needed?
The question was how much time is needed, and if you're the insurance company, that would also go along with how long is a piece of string. But since they dictate what information is needed and they dish out the questions, that's why, unfortunately, the policyholders have to put it to the insurance company, hey, do you need anything else from us? And then the question should be no, versus you run the risk of them coming back and saying, oh, well, we didn't get everything that we needed from you. Well, if you had performed a reasonable inspection in the first place, you wouldn't have to worry about that. Now, most of that is transparent. The other, as far as the reasonableness, you also have different facts. So facts and or policy language that the insurance companies use when they're sending communications to the policyholders with regarding why they either underpaid the claim or they denied the claim. The Texas Insurance Code is pretty clear. You can't use facts that aren't supported by the documentation in the claim determination. Whoever the insurance adjuster was that was out there, whatever their documentation supports, great, use that. You can't make up stuff and put it in the claim determination letter. The same way insurance companies can't just blindly copy and paste entire sections of exclusions and say, this is why we're denying your claim. I mean, State Farm actually has it on the record that that's their policy and procedure. Well, we don't just take the part that we think applies here. We take the whole section, which includes latent defect. Well, Mr. Adjuster, what latent defect did you find? Or varmint damage. Where's the pictures in your search of varmint damage? Inherent vice. You can ask the adjuster what that means. I'll tell you, 9 times out of 10 or more, they don't even know what the hell it means. But they're using it to deny claims. And they're putting it in writing. Faulty zoning, faulty planning, all have been used in claim denial letters and have nothing to do with the claim. That's bad faith. I may have gone over my time.
I'll just say one thing on this topic. We need to remember that while my client does have an obligation to conduct a reasonable investigation of the claim, the ultimate burden to establish that a covered loss has occurred is on the policyholder. Right? The policyholder has the burden to prove a covered claim during the policy period. So that is very clear. Am I right on that, Chad? Unless there's an exclusion.
After litigation starts, it certainly is.
But during the claim process, you disagree that it's not the insured's burden to prove a covered loss?
I would think that part of a reasonable investigation would be, hey, here's the damage. It's due to a storm. It's due to a pipe burst. It's due to the fire. And that's why the house isn't standing anymore. It's a pile of ashes.
I agree with that. Right? But if there is a dispute during the claim process as to whether, during the claim process, as to whether the hail damage occurred in 2022 or whether it was in 2014, the burden on that issue is on the homeowner, and it would be reasonable for the attorney or for the insurance company to say, please provide us with whatever information you have that this hail damage occurred in 2022 and not 2014 in fulfilling the insured's burden.
I disagree. If they've already, especially if the insurance company has already made their claim determination, it's okay, we'll come back and prove that we're wrong.
The burden is on the
like
policyholder.
The defense attorney saying, well, Judge Chad didn't prove to us that, Chad didn't prove to us what the claim was. Well, I'm not proving it to the defense attorney, I'm proving it to a jury.
I agree at trial, but the burden is no different in the claim adjustment process. Black letter Texas law. It's just simple. So when we ask for additional information,
a lot of
maybe
things,
the information we
are
have,
starting to make sense now.
the information we have shows that the hail occurred in 2014.
Why insurance companies act the way they do. I see a book.